Hi everyone, this is Elena Kraus and welcome to another card video. In this video I will show you how to make this clear card using the Ton Beautiful Bettas stamp set that was released about a month ago along with my MISTI stamping tool. So I'm using the Orchid and Minted Minis in cubes, and here on the camera I have as well the green ones, which I won't be using. So I'm starting with the first layer, and I'm using my mini MISTI. I'm starting with the first layer of the larger Betta, and I will stamp it with the lightest mint ink from the pack of 4. So I'll be using the lightest, the second to the lightest, and then the darkest one. So the third shade of mint color I won't be using for layering this Bettas. So it's 3-step, and then there's the last step for this large fish is the eye, and I'll be using black ink for that one. So I'm just using my MISTI. I'm stamping a few times here. I stamped 2 or 3 times to have nice and solid image. And before that you saw me that I conditioned my stamp with VersaMark ink. So that helps the stamp to absorb the ink nicely. So I have more solid, when I stamp I have better coverage of the ink, especially when the stamp is very new. So the VersaMark helps condition. So here I'm stamping the second layer. I already positioned it in my MISTI, and quickly I heat set that. So the heat setting between the layers of ink helps, especially when you have more than 2 layers when they're layering, because it takes a couple minutes at least for that ink to dry. So otherwise the ink kind of bleeds into each other. So using the heat tool between layers helps keep the lines very crisp and clear. So I'm doing the last layer, and then I'll just do the eye. I had a hard time positioning it there and having it stand up, so I could pick it up with the lid of the MISTI. So I'm using just a little acrylic block to stamp that eye. And I kind of feel nervous because I rarely use acrylic blocks now. So next I'll go with the second fish. This is the medium size one from the set, and I'm using the Orchid Minis. So I'm going with the lightest one. Again, I condition my stamp with VersaMark, and then I just stamped the first time on scrap piece of cardstock. So I'm doing it, I'm stamping twice and then one more time to have nice kind of darker and more saturated look of that fish. I'm positioning the second layer here, picking it up with my MISTI, and then conditioning with the VersaMark and applying the second color. So this is darker than the first one. So here is my Betta, and I decided to heat set before I stamp it for the second time. Next I'll position that third layer. So I think that looks good. I pick it up with the lid of my MISTI, and then I'm using the darkest color. Again, I'm conditioning that stamp before I stamped onto my project. So here are the 2 fish. So next I'll cut those out. So I already cut them. There's now there are coordinating dies available. When I made my project I did not have them. So I cut 2 layers. After I cut my first fish, I grabbed like another like scrap piece of paper behind to have that another white layer because I'm using a clear card, acetate card. So I'm just putting another layer of cardstock on the back so you don't see the adhesive. So it kind of has nice coverage and it looks more professional. Next I cut a circle out of pool layering paper. I'm gonna stamp the grass, the 2 little strings of grass. I'll stamp with VersaMark ink and then emboss with Hero Art Ultra Fine embossing powder. So before that, because I used some green ink on that, I just wanted to clean my stamp. So I'm just stamping now with VersaMark a couple times to have nice coverage. And then I'm using the ultra fine embossing powder to apply to the little circle, and then I'll heat set it. As well, I cut another circle from white cardstock that's the matching size as that one to put on the back of the card to cover the adhesive on that circle inside the card. So I'm adding the adhesive there. I'm trying to center it here. I'm positioning my card onto the grid paper, onto my cutting mat, the grid cutting mat. And then I'm adding that white circle on the back. Next, I have left a sentiment, so I'm using the thank you sentiment from the same kit. And I'm stamping with VersaMark on the edge there, and I'll use white embossing powder to emboss that. So I'm just removing the extra speckles of embossing powder there with using my scissors. So I heat set that one, and using my paper trimmer, I will trim the sentiment. So I have that strip. Now I'm trying to position it where I want it to go onto my card. I'll tuck it under the fish and then trim the end that's hanging off the edge of the card. So next I'll cut another strip of the same width from black cardstock, and I'll apply adhesive on the back, and I'll tear that one on the back to mask that adhesive from the first strip that's on the front of the card. So next I'm just making that edge fold more crisp using my bone folder. And to finish off my card, I'm using some glitter enamel dots. So here's the finished card. Thanks for watching, and thanks for stopping by my blog and my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to both my YouTube channel and my blog for more inspiration and more card making ideas and other crafty projects. Thanks for watching, and see you soon. Bye!